Saints are going to be running from left to right. If they win, they'll draw level with Penrith and Balmain in equal 5th position. And that would leave Norths, of course, just out of the 5. What an intriguing battle we have going on in 2 sections for the top 3 and, of course, for position number 5. That's all that's open, really. Mike O'Connor has the ball placed, and referee Cooley calls time on. As this ball goes right down, beating the fullback Jonathan Docking at the first attempt. Docking, one of several players in the Cronulla team to have used the headgear. Here's the lower grade results as this match starts to unfold. Cronulla winning the under-23s, St George winning the reserve grade. And here's St George with Brian Johnston tackled just beyond the 32-metre line. O'Connor gets an inside pass to Johnston. He's up to a point about 25 metres out from the Cronulla line. Tackle number 5. Funnel. Puts it in the air. Some pressure here for Cronulla. Hurst is underneath it and takes it very well. Also takes a very solid tackle by Walford. But Hurst, he was under a lot of pressure. In fact, the St George player, Burgess, got there before him. Kept his eyes on the ball. It's a good job. David Hatch. Jack Gibson. Diamond. This youngster Diamond, I think you'll find, is off to St Helens. He's one of the purchases made by Alex Murphy on his recent trip. That was a knock on there. This will be a scrum. Miller's appealing against the St George player stealing it, but it's fallen on deaf ears. Saints winning it. Burgess. Selby.
It's the first real chance that either team's had to be in an attacking position, and I think the man that Cronulla are going to need to watch here is Craig Young, the St George front row forward. Very dangerous here. He's the sort of man that could slip a pass to a support and put on a try.
The feet of the player. Haddock. Lanane. Long ball, cuts out Johns, picks up O'Connor, sends Johnston inside, juggles it a couple of times. Johnston still goes, gets the pass away, back to Johns and then on to Lanane. Lanane is wrapped up out there by the Cronulla winger, Watson. Now it's with Funnel, but he goes back into the markers. 5 tackles gone for the Saints. Haddock gets his kick in, and not a lot of pressure there for Docking. He was in the field of play and tackled by Johnston. So that's the first on this set of 6. Selby brought down on 2. Walsh can't get his arms free. That's 3. 11 metres out. Inside pass for Young, put to ground on 4. Dummy half guider. 7 metres out. Now it's Haddock, Lanane, O'Connor, the run around. And it's Johns who's able to slip away from Diamond. Got the pass to Lanane. They're on tackle 4. They're throwing it about as though it's on tackle 5. And there it is now, the indication. This is their last coming up as it goes over to Haddock. Haddock puts the grubber kick in behind the Cronulla players. Going fast, O'Connor taken over the dead ball line, Eddinghausen. And an interesting passage of play there from St George, with Perry Haddock very much the general on what was occurring out there. No score. Cronulla with the line dropout. Andrew Eddinghausen. Good drop kick. 50 metres on the fly. Back goes Burgess. Tackled by Jackson, the blonde-headed prop, playing in jumper number 40. This is Guida, short ball for Fafita, up to the 22 line. Young, back and out from Selby to Chris Johns. Johns tackled, he's only about 12 metres out from the line. Chance here for the St George side. Haddock cuts out the two forwards, picks up Lenane, comes back towards the blind, but he's wrapped up. Lenane again tries to flick it out the back, and he's ruled that it went backwards. And Haddock is tackled on 5, so here we go on the last again. Funnel puts the kick in behind, and again they're forced in goal. Referee coolly ordering a line dropout. Funnel this time was the man putting the stabbing, grubbing kick through, and there's no doubt in the world that Docking forced that ball in goal. As I might add, I thought Gonzalez did yesterday. This is Burgess.
The thing that Cronulla need desperately at the moment is the football. St George have had it for 2 full sets of 6. Cronulla restarted play with another line dropout. I don't know that they'll be able to continue this sort of defence for too long.
Turned by Walford to Young. Young gets it to Haddock. Good quick passing. Burgess to Johns. Johns sees an opening, tries to sprint through it. He's tackled on the 22-metre line. Played back to Guida, given to Haddock. Away now to Walsh, and Walsh goes up and at them. But he's tackled about 15 metres out from the line. Now it's back for Young. Young taken around the bootlaces by Speechley. Burgess gets it on to Guida. Flick pass inside for Mike O'Connor. Kicks ahead. There's a chance on. And again Docking forces the ball in goal. Well, Graham Hughes, this will be bringing memories back to you of last year's grand final. St George, in fact, are doing to Cronulla what Canterbury did to them.
They certainly are, but full marks to both sides. St George tactics have been perfect. They haven't even come up with a dropped ball in the last, 4 or 5 sets of 6 tackles. They've been setting themselves perfectly. Both sides of the ruck, they've been setting up the blind side, having players with hands down that blind side, and also the open. And Craig Young's been hitting the ball up nice and hard. I've always liked the St George side when Craig Young's been going forward and hitting that defensive line, as he is again right now. He's taken that over touch, but that's the sort of defence that's really kept St George out, and hasn't that been needed?
So as this season unfolds, we're looking very much like we could have a playoff situation at the end of 26 weeks. Early days yet, I suppose, but the way it's becoming congested, that's very much on the cards. Ettinghausen. I wonder if we were able to find a time and motion study on territory alone in this match. And looking at the clock, there's 28 minutes gone. I just wonder what the breakdown of time in your opponent's territory would be reading out at. I'd take a guess and say St George has spent 23 of the 28 minutes in Cronulla's territory, to give you some idea of the backs to the wall task that Cronulla have endured in the first half. Little kick through, cleaned up by Haddock. Graham, you had a comment to make on that question of mine?
Well, it is. That pressure by St George has been absolutely enormous. The defence by Cronulla outstanding, but what's got to start playing on the minds of the St George side is that, geez, fellas, there's only 10 minutes, 11 minutes to go here on the clock. We've had the better of all the game to date, and we haven't got any points on the board. That's in their minds, because Cronulla, that gives them super confidence if they can turn around and say, well, we took their best. Let's see what comes up in the second half for us.
Yeah. Look at Gavin Miller's forward. He's got a superficial wound there that's mixed up with the sweat. 33 metres out, right smack bang in front. Got it away nicely. The flags are in the air. And Michael O'Connor, the dual international, gets the first points of the match. The young Sharks of 86. It would mean that they're in their 20th year, Cronulla Sutherland. How time flies. 67, did they not come into the league? So they're in their 20th year. And And they've done so well when you look at their strike rate, if you like, their strike rate of semi-finals and grand finals in their first 20 years, and then compare it with other clubs. 73 they went down to Manly, 78 they went down to Manly. They've taken out the Wednesday night cup on 2 occasions. As we see the ball flick past inside for Ettinghausen. He's inside the 40 and the 32, and Watson is going in to score. Watson dives in to score at the Paddington end of the Sydney Cricket Ground. So, Cronulla Sutherland, they've taken an absolute battering from St George. The Dragons have thrown everything bar their back teeth at them. And this was a flick pass by Mark McGaw. Ettinghausen went inside to straighten up the attack. He kept his eyes peeled inside. He drew them from the outside. And then he said, now it's your turn, young Watson. Away you go. Bingo! 4 points for Cronulla.
We're in that danger zone just before half-time that Cronulla were able to strike. A good combination here between the two centres. McGraw ran wide, drew the defence, turned the ball back inside to Ettinghausen. He positioned his winger beautifully. I think Ettinghausen's a wonderful player. Got the ball back onto Watson. Watson's got plenty of pace, and he was able to go on with the job.
So Watson, only 21 years of age, the butcher boy. Gee, that brings memories of mine flooding back. My first broadcast ever was a West Wyalong Mark Cup match. A fellow called Cole Ratcliffe, he could play football, and that was his nickname, the Butcher Boy. I wonder will Watson be as good as Cole Ratcliffe was? There's a blast from the post for you, Ender. Watson from 22 out, 6 in from touch. Lets it go, but it's just wide. Tooheys Monday Night Football, 4-2, the Sharks over the Dragons. Now Haddock, Young, floats it out wide for Johns. Gets inside Hatch. Look at this boy go! Johns with a good run of about 30 metres. Tackle just outside the 22. Haddock. Oh, waltz through his head back in disgust. He wanted it bad. Linane, grubber kicks ahead. Gets off. What a bounce. Linane, wide ball to Johnston. Johnston goes in to score. That's a miraculous try for St George. Oh, Steve Linane got the bounce of the year. Steve Linane got a bounce back off the Cronulla player. Have a look at it. There it is. Poor old Gavin Miller. And Linane said, thank you very much, Gavin. Gave it to Brian Johnston. And when he's on fire, he's really flying, Brian Johnston.
No tries in 35 minutes, then 2 in 5 minutes. It was a very fortuitous bounce for Linane. We'll see it coming off the number 10, Gavin Miller. Now, what had happened here, Watson, the Cronulla winger, had come in to try to tidy up in the centre of the field. So when the ball was thrown long back out to Johnson, there was no one there.
Yes, exactly. Let's take another look at it. And the predicament that young Watson was in, he went to try and help somebody else. He went to help his next-door neighbour. As it turned out, he's left his own backyard without security. And Brian Johnston flies in to score for the Saints. He's a player with a lot of experience, Brian Johnston. That's why the rep selectors, they don't have to look very far when they're looking for a handy man around the place to fill a gap. 6 points to 4, and Mike O'Connor from the touchline. Will take 6 to 4. Lets it go, and just wide. So it's pretty tight, isn't it, on this particular Monday night? 6-4 the Saints. And the siren sounding, indicating the end of the first 40 minutes. Absorbing first half. I found it that way. With Cronulla enduring tremendous periods of time under defence, snatching an unexpected lead, and then St George getting a try near half-time. 108 tackles by the Saints, 131 by Cronulla. That's the highest count we've had for a team in a long time. Guida, tackle on his own 22. Fafita has sunk to the ground.
No, Johnny Fafita fairly well, and I'll tell you what, if he goes down injured, then he's really hurt.
Well played by Welsh, and and it's spun back for Funnell to get a kick in. And it's gone straight to Docking. Well, Funnell had plenty of time with the kick. He was entitled to direct it to anywhere else other than where it eventually finished up. This is Hurst now. Selby. Brad Perry is the man on the receiving end of that tackle from Welsh as the ball is spread, and it goes through Linane, Johns, and then to Burgess. Burgess inside the 20-metre point. The second tackle on this set of 6. Haddock away now to Guida. Walsh. 4 tackles. Guida running unchecked. Gets a pass away. There's still a chance here for the Dragons. O'Connor picks it up to Haddock. Haddock goes himself. He is pulled down about 5 metres out, not held. Now he is, and there's 5 tackles gone. As it goes out to Mike O'Connor, he puts a grubber kick back in, and it's dived on by Cronulla. Play by Diamond. This is David Hatch. Play just inside the 22, and referee Cooley calling Young out for something he did in the tackle. Penalty to Cronulla. Let's have a look at this. Diamond went from dummy half. There's Young, the front-on tackler. Oh, yeah, he's dead set. Got him for the left knee. Played by Hatch. This is Miller. Now it's Diamond. Back now for Watson. Tackled by Johnston. Played back to Porter. Michael Porter put down by the St George forwards. Miller. Jackson! 3 metres out from the line. A sweet tackle by Funnell. Now it's Hatch. Picked up on the third bounce by Gustard, but I think he's lost it. He has. Guida's got it. Walford. Young. Guida. The scrums and penalties. Scrums going at the rate of 2-1 to St George. The penalties almost the same ratio the other way to Cronulla. Here comes this little midget, Jonathan Docking. Takes an unbelievable battering for a man his size, but he just keeps bouncing up. Diamond. Hurst. Hatch turning it in for Speedsley. Miller. Good step by Miller, then he promotes it on the inside for Docking. If I had a criticism, there's a knock on by David Hatch. If I had a criticism of referee Cooley tonight, it's, in my opinion, the tolerance he's shown in players allowed to lie on the man tackled. It's becoming, to me, very prevalent with the referees. They're allowing teams to lie on the tackled player for far too long. Cronulla Sutherland coming up with the football. Hatch gets it away to Gustard. He's tackled 12 metres out from the line. Way back to Hatch. He decides to take a dummy half run. Gustard. Away it goes now for Diamond. Diamond is tackled about 15 metres out.
Diamond should have let the ball go then. St George was shot to pieces out wide.
Miller goes from one side, runs across to the other, picks up another runner. It's Docking, and Docking is tackled 10 metres out from the St George line. The Dragons in a bit of trouble here as Porter goes across, gets a pass to Eddinghausen. It might have been a touch forward. Porter backs him up, gets the pass away to Phil Hurst. That's a try. There's a try awarded to Phil Hurst. Well, it was absolute and total perseverance on the part of Michael Porter. He was the man who really made this happen. Here he is, bulldogging his way across the ground. On the Tui's replay, he gave it to Eddinghausen. I thought the pass, well, it was line ball. Then he wrestled with, it looks like Funnell, Walford and Burgess. They should never have let him get the ball away, and Hurst it was who goes in to score the try.
Well, Porter's normally well known and better known for his taking of the ball up and hitting the line hard, but here we can see his ball skills. He threw the lateral pass to the player next to him. He then backed up and took the reverse pass, popped the ball up to Hurst, and Hurst was able to go in for a critical try.
Yes, there's no doubt about that. Phil Hurst, the try scorer. But let me say, a couple of passes there, and they were both thrown by Porter. They both had a little question mark on them, but St George, they're going to have to wrestle with the fact that three players had Porter and couldn't tie the ball up. The kick from the touchline by Watson is wide, and Cronulla Sutherland leads St George by 8 points to 6. Now it's Diamond. So that's their second tackle as they drive it towards the Brawongal or the Clive Churchill corner. I think I'd rather use that description from here on in. With the stand now open. The great man honoured. Porter flung to the ground. That sickened him too as he wobbles to his feet. Miller is tackled. That's 5 gone. I wouldn't be surprised if Cronulla employed an old tactic we saw from him, that extravagant kick across the ground. Not that one. Burgess in trouble. It's a try! Is it not? No, he's ruled that it went forward off the hands of Cronulla players. By Jove, I thought Jackson had scored a try here. Down it came. He's ruled that it came off. Have a look at it again. Yes, he's ruled that it came forward off the Cronulla players. Scrum one against the feed. What an important one as St George stretched the ball. Johns gallops outside the 22 line. Oh dear, I think he should have had a look, Chris Johns. He had 2 players running into an open space. The ball's gone quickly back now to Billy Noak. Noak is tackled about 2 metres into Cronulla's area. Played back to Chris Guida. Guida makes about 4 metres. Noak is injured for St George. So too is Steve Linane. It's Craig Young who hits it up now. He loses the ball. Cronulla Sutherland's advantage. Docking comes back with it. Outside the 40. Floats the ball to McGaw. Forward pass. The thrills of rugby league. One moment St George fans are on their feet, and the next moment Cronulla Sutherland's fans doing the same. No question the pass was forward from Docking to McGaw. Little push in the face from Funnell. It's gone now from Walsh to Young. Young stands, picks up Slippery Morris. Morris is tackled, held there by David Hatch. Middle of the ground, Linane goes back towards the markers, and he's easy prey. 5 tackles gone now for St George. Haddock's the dummy half. Out it goes now to Funnell. Puts a little kick up. McGaw is there to clean it up. This is Porter. It's the head down and the eyes glaring at his opponents. His teeth are gritted. And he hits it up. As I said earlier, he's a mean-looking critter. This is Hurst. There he is. Miller. Now it's Glenn Mortimer. the fourth of the brothers. Through Gustard to Speechley to McGaw. Eddinghausen's on his left. There goes Eddinghausen around Steve Morris. Inside pass for Docking. He's down. He'll get up again. The little rubber ball. He's over. Little Jonathan Docking. He's in to score for Cronulla Sutherland. That is the ball game. And probably a really great chance for St George to make the 86 semis has been blown apart by their young brother Cronulla Sutherland. McGaw and Eddinghausen, they've been two of the young stars, it seems, for a long time. And then another of the young stars, Docking, came along and capped off some fine work.
Well, it's been out wide that Cronulla have been able to open St George up tonight. Here it was Chris Johns. He never really went with his man. He cover defended rather than go up straight. That gave McGaw the opportunity to run wide, picked up Eddinghausen. I thought the St George player there would have been better to hold back the one coming in cover defence rather than go for an intercept just to sit on Docking. He didn't, and that caused Cronulla to score.
Well, what a marvellous little player he is, Jonathan Docking. I know he's one of Jack Gibson's favourite sons, or favourite players, I probably should say. As Watson takes the conversion attempt, it's successful, and Cronulla Sutherland leads St George 14 points to 6. Miller. Straight down to Burgess. Of course, there is a theory in gambling circles that if it doesn't get paid out on the 6th, it should jackpot. Well, that's all very... Oh, St George! Good bounce for O'Connor. Up for the corner goes Johnston. He's tackled. Glorious tackle by Docking. Well, what do they say? Good things come in small packages. I tell you what, they put plenty into this Docking package. A great bounce came up for Mike O'Connor. Brian Johnston put the ears back and let go. But look at this little fellow. Bingo. Brian Johnston. Tackled by number 24. Who did you say he was, Graham?
Malcolm Wheeler.
Thank you, Graham. I think I've got Graham. I've caught him heading for the dressing room for the man of the match award. And here's Chris Johns splitting into an opening. I hope that's where he was. A very hollow sound to it. This is Linane now with a little kick over the top. Docking. Well, if he's made one mistake, he's entitled to it, and he's made it right there, and the siren goes right smack bang behind it. Well, what an exciting match. It mightn't have come straight out of the Rugby League manual, but gee, it was a good match, wasn't it? There's the scoreboard. Cronulla, Watson, Hurston, Docking tries, Watson a goal, and for the Saints, Johnston a try, and O'Connor a